Unheard of. So you execute a search warrant and then you spend a lot of time going through all the evidence to determine if there's enough there to bring charges.
With help, Jay-Z found success with his first studio album, Reasonable Doubt, which featured the notorious B.I.G. On the track Brooklyn's Finest less than a year after its release, B.I.G. was murdered. His death heavily influenced Jay-Z while recording his sophomore album, In My Lifetime Viol. One, to which Diddy also contributed. While Diddy and Jay-Z were already friends, this album marked one of their first major collaborations. The other was Diddy's No Way Out album, which included Jay-Z on the track Young G's Diddy Rounded Out 1997 with what he described as the biggest hip-hop show ever, featuring acts like Jay-Z and Usher. According to Usher, he once considered forming a group with Diddy.
Jay-Z, Pharrell, Diddy,
damn, Usher,
and me was supposed to be a group.
Jay-Z and Pharrell Williams, although this never came to fruition. Nonetheless, Diddy and Jay-Z remained close. In Diddy's eyes, Jay-Z filled the shoes that Biggie and Tupac Shakur left behind. Jay-Z naturally drew comparisons to Diddy, as both were New York-born hip-hop artists named Sean and equally skilled businessmen. Jay-Z co-founded Rockefeller Records, and neither was a stranger to controversy.
Felt confident, but at the same time, it was a scary situation.
In December 1999, Jay-Z and Diddy became embroiled in separate scandals at Times Square nightclubs. Jay-Z was accused of stabbing record producer Lance Rivera at the Kit Kat Club, allegedly believing Rivera was responsible for bootlegging Vol. 3. Life and Times of S. Carter. Rivera later claimed Jay-Z took the fall for someone else. Ultimately, Jay-Z pleaded guilty and received 3 years probation. Weeks after the Kit Kat Club stabbing, Diddy and his protege, Shine, allegedly took part in a shooting at Club New York, leading to the arrests of Diddy, Shine, and Diddy's then-girlfriend, Jennifer Lopez. While Lopez faced no charges and Diddy was acquitted, Shine served almost a decade in prison. This incident marked the end of Diddy and Lopez's relationship. Meanwhile, Jay-Z began dating Beyoncé, a breakout member of Destiny's Child. They were friends for roughly a year before officially dating in the early 2000s. Diddy knew Beyoncé from when she was a single lady. He recalls that at one of his parties, Michael Jackson, who had arrived uninvited, whispered in his ear, "Where's Beyoncé's?" Jackson eventually found her, and even danced with her. Beyoncé's solo career took off in 2003 with her album Dangerously in Love, featuring the
eating milk, running around, talking about expensive pain in his ass.
Wait, this is Philly you're talking about now. Wait a minute, Jack.
Me.
Wait a minute.
He's a Fruit Loop. He Diddy fried.
This is Philly.
He's a deep fried period. He Diddy fried. He Diddy fried. He the Diddy do-I-bop. Fuck me. Real rap.
You think that audio that they put out was real?
Yeah, that was him. Nicki put that out there.
Chart-topping single Crazy in Love, which solidified her and Jay-Z's status as a power couple. Beyoncé also collaborated with Diddy on the song Summertime, which succeeded despite being left off her album. Over the next 2 decades, Beyoncé and Jay-Z became almost inseparable, with Diddy often by their side. Following Hurricane Katrina, Diddy and Jay-Z pledged $1 million to the American Red Cross. Beyoncé was similarly inspired, co-founding the Survivor Foundation with Destiny's Child member Kelly Rowland. In 2009, Diddy produced Notorious, a biopic centered on Biggie Smalls' life, with Jay-Z and Beyoncé attending the premiere. The two had tied the knot the year before and welcomed their first.
He did what he had to do, and most importantly, their family stayed tight and together, and they were able to weather the storm.
The same cannot.
Accusations and racketeering, possibly. We will, of course, know when that document is unsealed and bring it to you as soon as we hear the very latest. But again, no connection. But it's interesting that both of those cases headed up by the Homeland Security investigations. We're just learning that from sources.
Yeah, that gives us a tiny little hint as to what he might be facing. Jerika, thank you so much.
Yeah,
very serious. So speaking of that, we are joined now by Rich Schoenstein. He is a trial attorney and partner at Tarter, Krinsky, and Drogan law firm. Thank you so much for joining us. So you heard Jericka talking there. We don't know the specifics of the charges that Sean Combs is facing. The indictment is sealed right now. It will be unsealed, but we know we're talking about a federal prosecution here. She mentioned that Homeland Security was taking the lead in terms of the investigation. He's being processed in Manhattan. So then walk us through how things will sort of unfold.
His lawyer said in a statement that he voluntarily actually relocated to New York recently in anticipation of these charges.
The child, Blue Ivy Carter, in 2012. Diddy congratulated them on social media, hoping for many more blessings. In 2013, Beyoncé and Jay-Z attended Diddy's VMA after-party, where a rumored brawl broke out between Diddy and J. Cole after Cole allegedly made inappropriate comments about Cassie Ventura, Diddy's then-girlfriend. A guest reported to the New York Daily News that it was mayhem. With Beyoncé yelling for the fighting to stop while Jay-Z separated people. Although Diddy denied the incident, it didn't stop Beyoncé and Jay-Z from attending Diddy's New Year's bash later that year. In 2014, rumors circulated that Jay-Z had cheated, sparking tension with Beyoncé. Beyoncé addressed the infidelity in her 2016 album Lemonade, and the couple tackled their struggles together in the 2018 song Family Feud. Discussing their relationship, Diddy admitted that Lemonade surprised him, although he was happy that they overcame their hurdles. Unfortunately, the same couldn't be said for Diddy and Cassie Ventura, whose decade-long relationship ended in 2018.
It's now been 1 week since the arrest of Sean Diddy Combs.
Diddy is now at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, a place that's been described as hell on earth. Fox 5's Lisa Evers is at MDC right now on Diddy's life behind bars. Lisa, what are you finding out tonight?
Well, Natasha and Steve, for the first time in his life, Sean Diddy Combs has spent a week behind bars. He's here inside MDC, where he's been since his arrest on Monday night on federal sex trafficking and other charges, to all of which he's pleaded not guilty. There's no VIP section. There is no concierge, only conmen, killers, and kingpins.
There are legal limits on us too, and we apologize to Jay-Z and Beyoncé.
One of the shocking things that you see are the manufacturing of weapons, assaults. Inmates hid cell phones within their rectal cavity. Jails and prisons are very different from free society.
Mob indictment has all the elements of putting together this racketeering allegation of all these moving pieces using resources from his businesses. But the fact that this is about an allegation of sexual gratification being accomplished by alleged human trafficking. It's one of the most unique indictments I've ever seen in this area, in the area of sex crimes, because the government isn't actually prosecuting the sex crimes other than the human trafficking or the sex trafficking. They're not prosecuting any type of alleged sexual abuse to women, although that's part of this racketeering scheme. But the actual charges are racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, and transporting individuals over state lines to engage in prostitution. The reasoning around all of this, his alleged motivation as presented in that indictment by the government, is for his own personal gratification. And that's just the strangest type of indictment I've ever seen. But I agree with you. This indictment reads, it's very disturbing. The facts presented are out of, a very bad Hollywood story. And a lot of the evidence, alleged evidence, that's been gathered in this case was from those two raids that were conducted on his personal homes in Miami and Los Angeles. And the indictment names the
Smith's experience reveals that in prison, everyone is subject to the same rules, regardless of status. Diddy's fame, his wealth, and his connections won't earn him any special treatment. He is just another inmate in the system now, subject to the same limitations and hardships as the rest.
That he allegedly made videos of these sexual performances that have been named freak-offs. And there seems to be a ton of evidence, allegedly, tying this scheme together. So it's an interesting way of prosecuting it, but I understand why they did it that way.
So what did you make of what Elizabeth Wagmeister just reported? And obviously, Sean Diddy Combs and his attorneys they're going to get their day in court. But the idea that the government, in their characterization, does not say that anybody did any of these things non-consensually. What do you make of that?
I make of that as being a big flaw already in the government's case, which the defense was quick to point out. Even if he was engaging in this alleged conduct, there was no allegation or no statement in that indictment saying that any of these alleged victims or alleged witnesses willingly participated in some of these acts that people find offensive, that are sound to be offensive. And that's a very important part of the case. What was the consent? But there are enough charges here where outside of what the alleged victims are going to say about how he was using the resources allegedly from his enterprises, his businesses, his well-known Bad Boy Entertainment, his clothing line resources, his liquor line resources. Allegedly, there were funds used from that resources to engage in this alleged prostitution activity across state lines. And that's why it's a federal case, because it's across straight lines. So there are some problems that the defense has brought up originally, but it seems like, just from reading this 14-page indictment, that there is enough physical evidence to perhaps get a conviction in this case. We shall see. These are allegations.
So the Office of the Southern District of New York seems awfully confident about their ability to handle the scope and complexity of the case. But still, why do you think it took them so long for them to go after Combs, considering they allege his crimes have been going on for more than a decade?
My theory is that the government had an easy time putting together this final prosecution because of all the civil actions existing against Sean Combs right now. The case with Cassie, which that video was shown, his former girlfriend, where he was seen assaulting her. It looked like certainly that he was assaulting her on video. I think the government and investigators were able to accumulate all this easy evidence that was just handed to them from the attorneys who prepared the civil cases that are now pending against him. I think things just started piling up, and eventually Sean Combs got to a place where his luck ran out, and therefore he was indicted.
Biggs and Bad Boy in image. I get around, talked about how fly you was, how many girls you mess with, how many cars you drive, how much money you got, what you willing to do. He took his image. Pac was the first one on the scene wearing Versace shirts. He went and got the same Versace shirts Pac had. Which, all right, some dudes would do that. You would never catch me wearing something that somebody else got. He was knocking down all the women that he thought Pac was knocking down. And what I mean is having sex with them. Why would you want to have sex with women you know for sure a dude that was once cool with you was dealing with? That's that image. Because you got to realize, bruh, Puff and Pac was cool at one time. We know this. Mopreme said that they was going to sign the Bad Boy. So if he's going to sign to Bad Boy, it was because of Corey and them. I put that picture on the internet. I put the picture on my channel of Corey Jones. Is Corey Jones, Corey Jacobs? I think Corey Jacobs and Pac right next to each other. Those are the ones who got the 16 to life sentences. That Pac was gonna go and be with them first. But then Mopreme said when it became just Big and Puff, because Corey and them went to jail, he changed his direction. But nobody know why Pac and Puff fell out like they did. You understand what I'm saying? Nobody know why. But Puff had an obsession with him for whatever reason it was, because he started wanting to act. He started wanting to rap. He had an obsession so bad that at his Grammy Award winning speech, he used the same speech that Pac used. That shit is crazy. So when I say I'm obsessed with talking about Puff and telling y'all the truth, telling y'all the truth. Who's obsessed with who? Pac had Sarah before Puff. Allegedly, he had Sally before Puff. And Kim had an obsession or liked Pac so much, she on the red carpet with Tupac's shirt on. Who's obsessed with who? I could hear it in the suite, in the hotel suite. And then sometimes when Kim lived on 70th something street, and I would go upstairs with Diddy, you could hear in the hallway. And I would just shake my head when he come out or whatever, and Kim would be in the house. And it's always about where she was at or who she was dealing with. You know what I mean? So I'm not gonna see you physically put your hands on nobody. I don't give a who you are, or well, I'm not gonna see you physically put your hands on her. You understand? That's not gonna be me. You know, first of all, I can't. The position I was in, you understand? Investigator for child abuse, worked for Elite Investigations, New York State parole officer. I'm mandated to do something. You understand? I'm mandated to do something. If she says, yo, his bodyguard was right there, but I'm still moonlighting, I'm moonlighting as his bodyguard, I'm working as his bodyguard, but I still have that other function as a state officer. I'm mandated to do something. Crazy, man. So you could hear Diddy putting hands on Kim Porter.
Well, see, he always do, like I told you, he'd be doing that. He'll start off, he'll have something on his mind, and he'll like that play fight with them. You understand? And he'll be hurting them when they, to the point where they'll be like, yo, stop. You know what I'm saying? But you know, they got the room is locked, you don't hear none of that. And then, you know, Kim would walk out in her white robe, and you could see it in her face. But what are you gonna do?
Right. I always wanted to ask you this, man. Do you know anything about these after parties that Diddy be having?
Which after parties? There's a lot of after parties. There's a lot of after parties for a lot of different reasons. There's after parties if we doing it at the hotel after we do a party, or there's after parties after the after party. You understand?
Right. I guess the one people talk about is the after party.
Well, those will be when him and somebody that he needs something from or wants something from, and he'll get those girls and he'll line them. It was alleged that she did have a book and that her book was about to come out, and she was talking about all the perils, everything that she went through in the music business and with Diddy. All the men that they slept with together, because there were men that they slept with together. There were swinging times that they slept with together. I don't know, man. How do you put your girl through some like that? Or how do you look at your girl and knowing that she sexing another dude? What kind of demonic mind you have to be that far gone where that don't bother you for somebody that you love? But Kim Book was going to express all that. And I hope she did her book on Google Docs, or she did her book somewhere that is floating in the cloud of the internet that somebody could go get it one day.
But I'm sure that he probably got hold to those tablets or whatever she had, allegedly, and got rid of them. They swimming with the fishes.
Wow, man. So she was about to expose all that in her book, them sleeping with men together.
She was gonna expose everything. I heard it was tell all.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. Just curious, right? Did you know that Diddy and Kim had that type of relationship back then in real time?
Yeah. Because I know somebody personally that lives in Atlanta that was swinging with them, and I would never mention his name because he's a good brother and he knows my family down there. You know, he knows my family down there, and I would never, put his name out there like that. He's been in the music business. He didn't put a lot